Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, Blue Falcon TCG, and third takes the charm. Just kidding. Anyways, we're going to do a nice little meta recap now that we're a post-ban list and had a good PQ weekend. I have about 9 PQs that I went and grabbed data from. So we're going to look at all the top 8 across the board, what the percentage is looking like. If the force throw ban really did stop the aggression wave, or are we looking at a healthier overall meta? Now, we're going to go over the overall top 8 percentages, winners, and the top performers of this weekend. And I'm thinking about making this a monthly thing where we just do a monthly recap to see how fresh and how great the format is or where it's shaping up to be. We got plenty of competitive tournaments throughout the year, so let's take advantage of it. So let's start off with our start off with our overall top 8 finishers. Boom. This is what we got right here. We are looking at a solid 6 top 8 finishers over 9 PQs of Sabine, which is really cool. You know, we are expecting Sabine, the heroism aggro like poster child, to kind of make its way to the top cut more often than others. In a format that is new and fresh, anything aggressive does shine. Now, if you're looking at this, you're going to see another expected name is going to be the Boba Data Vault. It's a fantastic just value engine where it does a lot of damage, and it has access to a lot of indirect stuff, making your opponent choose the dangerous game of going to base or clearing your own units. So either way, Boba does win when they have the right curve, and having access to one of the best green villainy cards, Barrage, arguably one of the best spot removals in the game, because you still get the swing. It is not an action cheater. You know, you can't snipe a card from your opponent's hand like Force Throw. Does it deserve a ban? I think so. I just hate it. Anyways, but it has access to amazing cards like Barrage, Devastator. You know, it's just a lot. It's great. It's great. Next thing down is Ray Data Vault. Now, this is kind of a surprise for the format. Ray in general has always, never really found it like I feel like it's on the fringes. Red Ray was really good. It's like the same any of the heroism, vigilance kind of shenanigans. I call it the freedom deck, the red, white, blue stuff. They all kind of play the same but have a different twist on the strategy. I think now Red Ray is now replaced with Red Yoda, I think, which is a lot better of a red, white, blue strat. But we're talking about Ray Data Vault. Now, heroism, blue, green, in general, is we know we're going to be in for a grind. We see our opponent across the table, we either got to rush them down quick and hope they bricked, or we know that they're packing a solid amount of spot removal, especially playing that Data Vault. It is going to be obnoxious. But Ray Data Vault sneaking its way in. Same thing with Poe ECL and Han 1 Green. Two big surprises. Not really. The Han 1 Green was expected. With Force Throw going away, we can expect that Han 1 is going to see a lot more top in the meta. Now, if we look at Han 1 across the board, as a leader, we're seeing 2, 5, 7 tops. So Han 1 has more tops across the board over Sabine, but we're just seeing a little bit more variations of Han 1. Now, looking at Han 2, the leader's good. It's never going to go away fully. Same thing with Anakin. We got a couple Anakin tops, but it's just never going to go away. Han 2 Blue, and then the Han 2 Data Vault, kind of the surprise. We in the Legend of the Force pack, we realized that Han 2 Green is kind of like the back seat in the Force package comparing it to the Han 2 Blue. Now, I wonder if the Data Vault, Han 2 Data Vault, was more of a meta call because of what you can play because of Data Vault, or if it's going back to the Han 2 roots and just kind of playing a heavier value engine and really pushing into those late games. So let's go ahead and hop over to our top performers. Now, the top performers tab is going to be all the leaders and, deck types that had the highest topping percentage in the top 8. Now, of the 9 PQs, we're seeing Sabine have the highest topping percentage across the tournament, which is, like I said, expected. following Boba Ray and Poe, and then Han 1 green. The biggest, like, I guess, upset is your Han 1 blue forces, because that's kind of like one of the newer strategies that we're seeing start to trickle its way into the top cuts. Han 1 is already a deck we know that can cheat out bigger units, manipulate the board, being able to slap something down quicker, similar to how Han 2 does, just using its secondary resource, which is its hand. Now, I think Force Throw going away allows Han 1 to kind of do more shenanigans, which is great. But Han 1 Blue Force, it's oppressive, it's quick, and just has a lot of value to it. Being able to slap a Luke down 2 turns early is obnoxious. And it's kind of hard to deal with. Puts you right on the back foot. And luckily, it's a deck that's difficult to play, or we'll probably be seeing a lot more of it in the future. Let's go into our winners. Now, with the winners, the coolest thing is we saw a lot of Sabine make it into the top 8, but it didn't correlate into a lot of Sabine victories over the PQ weekend, which is nice because I'd rather see a very diverse overall winner spread. Because it's expected to see a few of the same decks in the top 8, because we know what works, and there'll be some surprises here and there. But the coolest takeaway saying takeaway way too much, but the coolest winner, in my opinion, out of this top is going to be the Yoda Green Force or the Thrawn 2 Data Vault. Now, we saw a lot of hype over the Thrawn 2 just red Force package, being able to utilize Force Throw, the new Rey with Lars combo. It's disgusting. It's a lot of fun. It's a gambly-esque deck, and it's cool to see a more refined version of Thrawn 2 make its way to the top, because Thrawn is one of the coolest Star Wars characters of all time. But now it's getting its just desserts, the spotlight it deserves, and it's great for it to win a PQ. Gar Saxon picking up another win. Luke 2 ECL picking up a win, which is awesome. We are expected Cad Bane. It's such a good deck. Cad Bane Tarkin Town. Now, if we go back over to the overall toppings, we're going to see the fall of Tarkin Town across the board. It was the least amount of play to rare base. I think it only came up to 3 or 4 people, under 5. Under 5 players played Tarkin Town in this tournament, which says that they expected a low Han 2 count. Because when Han 2 is on the rise, so is Tarkin Town. And I think it has to do with like Force Throw going away, so people dropped Quinlan, which was the most popular deck prior to the ban. And then back over here to the winners, it's just pretty self-explanatory. It's just great. Palpatine Yellow, we already know what it does. It slows the game down so much, and then we get obliterated with Palpatine things. But we're going to go talk about, not the winner deck list, but we're going to talk about some really cool ones that caught my eye and attention that just were a lot of fun, and I'm pretty excited personally to play them myself. We're going to start off with Han Solo 2 Worth the Risk, but instead of doing your regular 30 base, value or force package, they played Security Complex. I think in their mind it was just to play around a lot of the spot removal things that is in the format, like Daring Raids. Because clearly the original tech for Security Complex was to out Force Throw, so you don't get Force Throwed on the following turn and lose a unit, and then you just lose your whole first play. But this is just your really aggressive, low to the ground Han 2. It's kind of similar to what it was when Han 2 was first released. We saw a lot more aggressive, not so much mid-range control, but just some aggro to mid-range decks. We still have some bombs in the Wrecker, Poe Dameron, and the 2 Luke Skywalkers here, but it's just a real clean, trimmed up list. One thing I do like, I think was a great addition, is the out of aspect Hotshot Blaster. Card's great. And then also, if you look over into the sideboard, the outmaneuver, clearly they understand that space is a problem, but seeing as a 2 doesn't do too much. But the Chaos of War, another interesting tech choice. But if you're expecting a lot of control, Chaos of War is a great card to play out of aspect. You already know we're going to go in a late game, and it just deals damage. It can close out a game. I've seen item players have 8 cards in hand, and you're just like, oh, bet. and you just win a game. It helps you push over that last little bit. And sometimes Han has a problem getting over that hump from like 28 to 33, and especially into that control matchup. Other cool tech that I personally like a lot is playing 3 of the 501st. It lets us play it for free on turn 1. It's not a coordinate requirement to have that raid, and then you can throw on the security complex, so it's a 2-1 when attacking, or it lets you play around the power of the dark side. You play your Sabine, you have the 501st in hand, you don't care if 501st dies, so it puts them on having the power. If not, then you're going to get a lot more damage on board. Probably my favorite list. There's one more that's my favorite, but this Grand Inquisitor is one of my favorite set 1 leaders, and I've been trying to make this like blue deck that just works. But something about Jeddah City, it just piques my interest, and that's what really drove my attention to this list. Jeddah City, we know, is like one of the worst bases of all time. Epic action -4/0. What does it really do for us as a player? It allows us to play an extra turn, maybe trade up on a unit and not lose the unit, which is really cool. And when you're looking at this, you notice this is Space Grand Inquisitor. It is a very space heavy Grand Inquisitor deck, and it utilizes a lot of thick butts and small attacks, like you expect. Bazine as your turn 1 play, such a great. It can be a turn 1 ender for your opponent. And throwing that back, Azura Singh, great. I mean Aura Singh, and then the new Grand Inquisitor main unit, 3/4 raid 1 hidden. It's really clean. Moving over into our ships, we got a lot of low to the ground vehicles, a lot of ways we can clear off our opponent's stuff. We got the TIE Bomber card is great. The Star Hopper, some indirect damage when defeated, not too bad. The Strike Ship is my favorite. Being a raid 3 with Overwhelm, and then if you pair it with a Vader on the following turn, it is a problem. It is disgusting. It becomes a 6/6. You can still restand it with Grand Inquisitor because it's just 3 or less power. And so you can get some massive damage really early on. If this goes unanswered, you're looking at closing out the game by turn 3. Turn 4, maybe. Looking over to the sideboard, you're just seeing a little bit more of the spot removal, the Cartel Spacers, Clan Challengers, which is a little extra way to kind of push for game on the ground side. Grenade Strike, self-explanatory. If you're dealing with space, Grenade Strike is fantastic in the Vader. So if you have an issue with Vader and you're playing red, Grenade Strike lets you do 2 in 1. Clear out the 2 Vader units off the rip. Super great. Force Throw, Force Choke. If you control Force units or 1, it's not at the 2 of. Still not bad. Great deck. Really excited to test this out at my locals. Maybe I'll play it to Showdown. Who knows? The peak deck. Whoever was making this literally cooked the whole buffet, because this person was eating. Like, Qui-Gon Jinn is one of the coolest Force decks, best value engines in heroism right now to play heavy, just big bombs, and then continuously reuse their wind plate effects. Now, if you're not familiar with what Qui-Gon does, you use the Force, return a unit to hand, play 1 for free that costs less than the returned hand. One of the coolest things you can do with Qui-Gon is continuously play Ahsoka. Her being a Force unit and then hand rip, it's a wrap. Attack with Ahsoka, return it to hand, play Ahsoka, rip a hand. It can be endless. You can hand loop with 1 card. Disgusting. Who needs Force Throw when you have Cunning Ahsoka? Now, looking into our bombs so we can just get the most value out of the game. We are playing 2 Qui-Gon. Granted, his when defeated effect is fantastic. It's a 2 for 1, so ambush over 1, pop the other. If it dies. If not, you can bounce it back and get some more ambush in. That's a really cool thing you can do, is you can ambush Qui-Gon, it doesn't die, return it to hand, throw down Deepa or Plo for free, ambush another and kill another unit. Super great. I don't think we need to explain why Luke Skywalker is good. -3/-3, or if you lose a unit, -6/-6. Who knew? Who knew that card is gonna be good in this set, right? No. And then Anakin Skywalker, typically in heroism decks, you're gonna just be able to -3/-3, but One thing that I've noticed with a lot of blue heroism is the incorporation of the out of aspect power of the dark side. It doesn't hurt us at all. It's a great card. There's no discard outlet in this deck, but it's just good. Force throw for 5 to just defeat a unit. That's fine. And then you can follow it up with an Anakin Skywalker on the next turn and just -3/-3, 2 separate things. Use the Force, return Anakin to hand, throw in Ahsoka, snipe. It got plays. This has plays. Sideboard looks as you would expect, just more control and a little bit more ways to slow the game down. Gorilla Soldier is a great starter. Well, great turn 3. Card's good. It just does indirect damage, and either they hit a unit or you go into base, and you can add it back to hand, throw down a Secret of Sage. I don't know. This is great. Waylay, all that good stuff. Just good value things in the sideboard. Final list is going to be the Ray Data Vault. This is exactly what you expect Ray Data Vault to be. A lot of small things. Looking at the C3PO and the R2D2, just some great value engine pieces there. Playing the C3PO, playing the R2D2 for 1 and just giving an experience token, making it a 2/5 does become a problem that you have to answer, because you're just going to constantly see the top card of your deck. And then once you get that C3PO, it's just R2 attack. Cool. I know to play a hard play the C3PO for 2 resource on the next turn. Call whatever, add it to hand, use 1 resource. Now C3PO is a 2/5. Just great value there. It can become a problem. The reason why I like Ray over OB2 is because you don't need the Force. There's no Force requirement to give an experience token. Just got to be small. Like, everything in here for our early game access is going to be under the 2 attack threshold, which is perfect. And we're looking at Tex, Yaddles, Yoda, making Lars being able to restore and cause some damage. That's a problem. Mon Mothma for searching. Just some great value cards here. And it's not a surprise on why this deck topped. It's grindy. It can reuse stuff in your resource because of tech. Home ones, just big ships really fast. Big ships. Playing 3 Fells as its only spot removal and 3 perilous positions, I think that was kind of a surprise. I was expecting to see some Power of the Dark Sides or something along those lines with at least an Anakin over the Obi-Wan. But I do like the inclusion of the Mandalorian, because you do play a lot of small, under 2 cost units. Give them double shields, heal them all up. Just feels great. And it's a Sentinel. 5/6. It is beefy. It is good. And then we're looking at the Thrawn Jedi Temple list. So Thrawn Green Force was kind of a surprise for me. Like, this was really cool. And like I said, we see a lot of hype behind the Thrawn Red Force, but this was some peak Star Wars card games. Looking at the sideboard, I thought it was kind of interesting to not see any space aside from sideboard, and it's going to be our Chimeras. Cool, thematic. I like to play it, so I feel like I have to put it in the deck. But we're playing the Triple Entrench to confiscate for more pilot hate. We're playing the Sun. Sun's great. You have to answer it. It just becomes a problem, especially when you have the Force. Everything just becomes big. The one out of aspect card we are playing to maximize Anakin's ability is going to be the Loth Wolf. We're going to play it for 4 as just a 4/3/3 Sentinel, just a body. And there's really nothing other than that. This is a good card. Just good, solid Star Wars here. Overall, format seems extremely diverse until you look at the overall performing top decks. Sabine's still pulling away. We got sector qualifiers next weekend. Got a couple other PQs. And so we can kind of see how everything shapes up. We're going to revisit this video type at the end of October. So some Halloween spooky theme video. Hopefully we get a more defined meta so we can side better. I don't know. Or we just keep it super fresh and super wide like it is and just play some good card games and have a great time with it. But that is the end of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed yourself. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and check out the rest of the channel. Remember, we're not bad at the game. You just got to shuffle better.